Jeffrey was 33, stuck in a cycle. He worked a 9 to 5 that paid bills but barely left room for anything else. Rent, groceries, gas, all predictable, all tight. He wasn't miserable, but he wasn't alive either. In late 2023, he stumbled across cryptocurrency again. He heard a noise back in 2021, but dismissed it as gambling. This time, it wasn't the memes that caught his attention. It was DeFi. A friend of him showed him what stablecoins could earn 5 to 6% yield, where tokens, safe big caps, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Sui could earn almost 10%, if not more, a month, stacking more coins for free for his bull run back. Something clicked at that moment. Wait, what if I build my portfolio? I can use liquidity pools to stack more coins to make more money in the bull run, Jeffrey asked himself. Now, Jeffrey started small. He moved $1,000 of his savings into some blue chip assets he wanted to ride for the 2025 bull run. APR wasn't crazy, but it was real, and it was a sure lot more than sitting earning zero in his bank account. Plus, he was now stacking more coins that he already liked and researched for the bull run. He watched his balance grow daily, and it felt different than a bank account. He was hooked, not on the money, but the control that he could now see his path, getting out of his 9 to 5 and doing something in the world with his life. From there, he studied every night after work. Instead of Netflix, he learned about restaking for extra yield, finding the best pools that suited his needs, scaling pools to other pools to keep the flywheel spinning. For the first time in years, Jeffrey was excited to learn and, most importantly, earn at the same time. And then came 2025. Coins started to really perform, and suddenly coins and narratives in cryptocurrency started to rotate. AI, Deepin, RWA, L2 tokens. Jeffrey had been quietly stacking, earning more of these tokens, and it made a big difference to his small portfolio when he once started. He grew that $1,000 to $3,500, then $10,000, and then $30,000. And he didn't have to find a 30x. He just constantly stacked with his DeFi pools. By the end of the bull run, Jeffrey did something he never thought imagined possible. He quit his job, not to retire, but to rebuild his life. In the bear market, he moved to a cheaper city, cut expenses, and let his DeFi income cover his essentials. But the real change wasn't the money. It was the fact that Jeffrey had gone from passive paycheck chasing to active wealth building in his own terms. Jeffrey's story isn't about luck here or timing, guys. It's about positioning early, focusing on real yield, and letting the bull run amplify good systems. In 2021, people chased hype. In 2025, Jeffrey bet big on DeFi income, and it changed his life forever. All right, guys, in this video, I hope you enjoyed a little story, but I want to talk about the DeFi income strategy that's working in 2025. And just like if you want to become the Jeffrey, we always talk about the Jeffrey being the bad guy, not the bad guy, the guy that just loses it all, but a Jeffrey in this story that we just talked about is going to be a good way for you. But firstly, we need to uncover, when we talk about that title, working in 2025. What does that actually mean? Because for me, I defined something that's working, if we're talking about DeFi, is something that yield makes sense for me, okay? And there's a caveat to that because I will allow different APYs for different single coins. For example, if we look at blue chips, working for me could mean 5% plus per month. That's 60% minimum. And there's many, many pools. You know, if you had a Bitcoin pool, for example, there's many, many pools you can go here, right? Where APRs are above 100%. Pretty much every single thing is above 60% here, but something I would ignore, okay, that we always talk about, we only want to do DeFi pools and coins you already hold. You can see this crazy one here, 1,100%. I would ignore this one because, yes, Bitcoin is there, but you're doing a 50% pool with Hemi. I don't know what Hemi is, I didn't even research it, but that's probably the reason why people are, you know, getting that high APY, because it's a complete shitcoin that could do well. We'll talk about that going later, but just remember when you're doing pools and you have a Bitcoin pool and you're comparing it against another asset, wouldn't you rather compare it against USDC, against Avalanche, against, you know, Aerodrome Finance, coins, blue chips that are probably guaranteed to do well in 2025 compared to a moonshot? Because you could lose your Bitcoin. So it's very, very important you understand that. So for me, again, is 60% per year minimum on blue chips. We'll talk about more riskier coins down the line. You know, we talk about Ethereum here. You know, you've got Ethereum USDC pool. This is all in VFAT. You can quickly find this if you want. Just type in VFAT and then just type in the asset underneath farms. But again, we see the same thing again. We see a nice pool here at 280%. But what is Lina? I don't really know. Okay, what is BOM? You know, what is Rex paying over 100%, which is not that crazy returns when you could get more in a USDC pool. So just keep that in mind. It's very important. We talk about XRP, you know, some of our guys in our community making an F ton of money. We talk about safe yields here in XRP and Bitcoin, 68%, 74%, 92% here with Ethereum. So it ticks the boxes again for working in 2025. We come over to Solana, which would be a platform called Orica. You could find Solana USDC, 81%. You could even do Coinbase Wrap Bitcoin, which is basically Bitcoin and Coinbase. Again, ticking the box of 60%. And then we could come on to Sui. Again, Sui USDC pool, 100%. So again, that's what working means for me in 2025, something that pays me 5% per month on my blue chip assets. Now, the caveat to that is we can talk about the darkier, the riskier shit. I need minimum 10% per month in this. So I've talked about Black Hole before. You can come on AVAX again. and you can type in black, which is, again, I'm not telling you to buy black. It's just an example of a riskier coin with less market cap that hasn't really had a 2021 run because it's brand new. Again, stuff that ticks boxes, you could have 435% here on Bitcoin and black. If you like black, don't do this if you don't like this, okay? Come back to your Bitcoin and get the USDC, Ethereum pools, right? You could go USDT black, 305%. You could go USDC black. What I wouldn't do is see a 900% pool here and do ID black, because I don't know what that is. I wouldn't do black KET because I don't know what KET is. MOG I've obviously seen before, but I don't know how it's doing well. But just keep in mind, it's a riskier game, but you should only really touch the dark shit like I've started to do recently once I've built up main income bags are doing well. And then we talk about Zora. We talked about this before. If you like Zora, you can see pools here, 300%, 900%, 383%. There's another one called Avo. I think it's called Avocado. Funny story with this. We've got one of our guys, Zach, here, saying he appreciated the teachings. By the way, if you want to join our group or book a free call, you can do that. First link in the description. Edit or chuck it up on the screen. If you want to do that, watch the video, understand what you're getting into, but it's a free call if you want to get interested in that. He was doing a pool on Avo, something he already believed in, and he was making an F ton of money. You can see here pending yield $15,000. It moved fast. He had to adjust daily. Just keep that in mind, because Avo not only went crazy with Solana, what happened was all that free Avo that he stacked, then pretty much 20x, 30x, 40x. So like if he was earning $50 per day, $100 per day, it was like he was earning $3,000 per day, which you can see here. In a week or so, he earned 15K, which is crazy, right? And again, there's a live pool here if you want to do it with Avo and Solana. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you don't have Avo. You can go super wide range and it's still paying you pretty much 300%. You have a 30% range on the upside, you have a 31, so you have a 60% range. Pretty effing crazy to still get 300%, but the caveat is you're betting on Avo. I'm not trying to bet on Avo this bull run. Zach here did, and it did super, super well. He made an F ton of money, but just understand that he rid this all the way up and then he sold. So the DeFi income that's working in 2025, well, again, have full range pools, run till peak, and you can stack and stack and stack. So just like my Zora pool, it's not full range, but it's pretty much a wide enough range where I should be good. We have our black AVAX pool that I've shown many, many times. So these are full range pools. They're more riskier, but you can run them. You can still find full range pools that'll pay you 60% plus on blue chip assets, but just understand it's a different game there. You could do number two, asset to asset, and there's no right or wrong answer here. By the way, when you're first starting a pool, do one or two pools first. Start making $1,000 per month and then scale up. Asset to asset pools are good because if assets correlate, for example, you could talk about Render and Solana, which are good on Orica. Usually what I mean when they correlate, if Solana goes up, Render will go up with it. Stuff that doesn't correlate is, for example, Final Boss token, right? Final Boss token did absolutely terrible against Solana, so it went up and then it went down. Problem was Solana and Final Boss didn't correlate. When Final Boss did well for one day, Solana didn't keep up with that. And then when Final Boss went pretty much zero, Solana stayed the same, right? So asset to asset is very good if you can understand how the market's going. So e.g. Brock, for one of my clients, doing 16K per month, he has XRP and Ethereum, right? Asset to asset, Ethereum will do well. XRP will probably do slightly better because it's less market cap, but you get to stay in range because they both go up. If you have Ethereum and USDC, well, problem with that is in a bull run, you might come out of range because Ethereum will outperform USDC because USDC stays the same. In an up and down market, absolutely fine to do so. Number three, if you're running stablecoin pools that typically won't get as much yield, maybe 20% APY per year, not per month, but they're still good to do so, I would treat them as a savings account, okay? And number two, you can use them in future if we get a big dip. So let's just say you have, I don't know, 100 grand of stable. So you're a big player, you've got 100 grand of stable, you're making, I don't know, like 2 grand a month of that, give or take. And then you have 102, then you have 104, then you compound, you have 106.5, etc., etc. If you see a big dip in a coin you like, in the bear market or in the bull market, whatever, you can use that to funnel in and buy cheaper Solana, cheaper Bitcoin if you see a price that you like. So that's a good way to do that because you get 20% to 30% sometimes, depends on the pool, compared to 0.1% your bank account, okay? Now, number four, if you're playing the 2025 bull run, like the classic 4-year cycle, you got to exit all pools just for cash, just like your hodl positions that you would be doing alongside. Don't be in asset pools in the bear market because they're going to go down and you're going to be right back where I was in 2021 that lost it all. So go to stablecoins instead when you believe the market's over, stack like a madman, and then re-enter in the accumulation zone if that's 2026, middle of 2026 or 2027, and then rinse and repeat asset to asset stablecoins in the next bull run. Hopefully you enjoyed that. That's my example of DeFi pools are working right now, and it's probably going to be the same for a while. Peace and take care.